Hey guys, Tanks here. This time we're taking a look at a very specific mechanic in a 15-year-old game which was recently re-released and you've most likely heard of before, called World of Warcraft: The Burning Crusade. But this isn't just a video about TBC Classic. No, this is a video about melee weaving. Which should have been pretty obvious from the title, but anyway, let's get the first big question out of the way. What is melee weaving? Melee weaving may not involve your grandmother's sewing needle, but it is aptly named nonetheless. Melee weaving is the graceful art of ever so subtly slipping melee attacks into your ranged attack rotation, ideally without interrupting, sometimes called clipping, or delaying your ranged attack timing. And you can see it beautifully performed here, more or less. When performed properly, you can weave in a melee swing, preferably empowered by Raptor Strike, by gracefully dancing into melee range immediately after your ranged attack finishes casting, and then making a sweeping bow back out of melee range before your next range attack is ready to begin casting. I say casting because that is in effect how ranged auto attacks work in TBC Classic. In fact, it's really only because of a combination of specific design choices and system changes that melee weaving is even viable in TBC at all. The elimination of the notorious Hunter dead zone that used to exist between 5 and 10 yards from their target where they could neither use melee or range attacks made way for melee weaving to become much smoother and easier to execute compared to the original launch version or the recent Classic relaunch of Vanilla WoW. Okay, cool. So melee weaving is sneaking melee attacks, or weaving them, into your ranged attack pattern. But is it actually worth doing? Should you even bother with melee weaving? First of all, yes. Melee weaving is worth doing because it's certainly more fun than just standing there and auto-attacking mindlessly. Imagine you had an ability on your bar that made you do more damage and look cooler at the same time, with a cost of 0 mana and a cooldown of like 3 to 4 seconds. I mean, that's melee weaving. Now for PvP, melee weaving is a huge bonus and something you should absolutely add to your toolkit. People step up to melee with a hunter thinking they're going to shut the hunter down by refusing them ranged attacks, but you're a melee weaver, not some noob who flees in terror. So you step into them with a Raptor Strike plus Wing Clip combo as you run right through them. They take a big chunk of unexpected damage and end up slowed, while you dash away on the other side to plug them with a few more arrows for good measure. It's so beautiful, I could cry. For PvE, melee weaving becomes a bit more hit and miss. You see, melee weaving is something that is really only viable when performed with a slow, big-hitting ranged weapon used in conjunction with a slow, big-hitting melee weapon. A slower attack speed gives you plenty of time to set up for those juicy weaves, but during raid encounters, you're likely to have a ton more attack speed than, say, while questing in the open world. This means the timing window becomes much narrower, if not completely impossible to fully utilize without interrupting your next range attack with the time that you take to get into melee range. After all, most of the hunter's damage still comes from ranged attacks and abilities, even when melee weaving. Secondarily, melee weaving requires you to toe the line between ranged and melee throughout the fight. For many encounters, this is either impossible or just unideal. Furthermore, the best melee weapons for hunters from a pure stat perspective in TBC Classic are fist weapons. And this is an issue because dual wielding is awful for melee weaving, since one-handed melee weapons have very fast attack speed and low damage per hit. With melee weaving, you just want to sneak that one hit in as fast as possible for a big chunk of damage, and with dual wielding, the damage is just much less the effort. I don't even know if it's worth it at all to melee weave when you're dual wielding. So what's the real point of melee weaving though? So sure, you might not see melee weaving making its way into every hunter's rotation on every fight, but it absolutely could put you ahead of your competition in fights where it is viable. But honestly, I'd say melee weaving isn't for the super elitists milking out every single drop of efficiency from their character and topping those charts. Melee weaving is for the little guys, just trying to not die from boredom while their pet tanks quest mob after quest mob after quest mob. Melee weaving is for people who take joy out of mastering a mechanic and increasing their mana efficiency. It's a mechanic that takes a bit of patience and practice, but it's well worth the effort and super satisfying to pull off. Plus you look way cooler wielding a huge axe or polearm compared to wearing some dinky little claws. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for now, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Psst, hey. If you're still here, you should follow me at twitch.tv/tankspot. I'm live every night around 6 p.m. Eastern until midnight. Okay, bye. Thanks. Bye. What's up, bro? What's up? Get 1v2'd. Oh, he rezzed? Peace! The other one's gonna res on top of me now?
I need a target.
Where's my... There we go. Oh, I'll fucking kill you too, buddy.
That spell isn't ready yet. I can't cast that yet.
What's up? Is your mage friend coming back again?